Hey guys, I'm Nick and welcome back to the channel. Well, today we're talking about the sneak peek scene for the next episode of Star Trek Picard Season 3, which is entitled Dominion. Things are definitely heating up for our crew here aboard the Titan. We've now got all of the Next Generation cast members back in the show as of last week's episode, and I can't wait to see what happens next in the story. It's certainly getting very interesting. And in this week's sneak peek scene, we see Vadic having another bit of a communication courtesy of her severed changeling hand to the boss changeling, I guess it is, that she communicates with, whether it's through the Great Link or some other changeling way where her severed hand is able to basically turn itself into this speaking head. So we're going to have a look at that sneak peek scene with her talking to Big Bad Changeling Boss Man. And after that, we're going to speculate, because Will Wheaton has come out in the last week's Ready Room basically saying he can't talk about who the guest star is in next week's episode. It's all very hush-hush. So I'm guessing episode 7 is going to feature the return of a legacy character, much like Michelle Forbes returned as Ensign Rowe in the episode before last. That was all very hush-hush. We hadn't seen any images of her from any trailers or any promotional materials, so it was completely a surprise when she turned up in the show. And I reckon there's going to be another legacy character return in next week's episode, as I said, which is entitled Dominion. Enough of that. Let's get into the sneak peek scene, have a look at that, and then we'll have a chat about who we might think might be our legacy character returning in the next episode. Let's take a look.
Frontier Day is almost upon us. We are running out of time. Report.
The associates of Jean-Luc Picard were unexpectedly firm in their loyalty in him. I don't anticipate them breaking the time we have left.
They must.
So it's pretty clear here that the boss changeling and also Vadic in past episodes has pretty much implied that whatever plans the changelings have, it is all centered around the Frontier Day celebrations. And Geordi even went to the point of, in the last episode, saying that he was sending multiple memos and emails or whatever out to Starfleet Command saying, let's not gather the entire Starfleet in one place. This is not a great idea to have all of your forces all gathered in one place at one time, because clearly that the changelings and the Dominion have got something pretty catastrophic planned for the Federation and Starfleet. So yeah, so maybe let's not put all our eggs in one basket, as Geordi pointed out in the last episode.
Do not fear me. Your physiology is not as special or complex as you believe. You are by nature malleable, made bend. Their kind is beholden to a singular flesh. Dismember one from the other.
We haven't seen changelings torturing changelings before. This is a whole new ball game for these guys. It seems like our severed hand speaking face boss changeling is somehow able to manipulate Vadic's changeling form to instill pain or discomfort in some way here. But the way he also speaks about Vadic would seem to imply maybe Vadic is different in somehow, or has a different makeup or structure to the normal changelings, perhaps. There's a little bit of an implication here that could be the case.
Do whatever is necessary. The hour of Starfleet's fall nears. We must have the boy, or you and your kind will find your own existence meaningless.
So it certainly seems like the changelings' plans centre around not only Frontier Day, but also Jack Crusher and the remains of Jean-Luc Picard are paramount in whatever their plans are. Pardon the pun. I wonder whether the Irremotic syndrome that the Jack Crusher and obviously also the remains of Jean-Luc Picard are in some way some sort of changeling detector, or there's something about this Irremotic syndrome that was obviously introduced last week as being a thing with Jack Crusher, and also that we know that Picard suffered before he got transferred into a synth body, that is some way concerning to the changelings. Well, Vadic certainly seems concerned that things aren't necessarily going the way of the changelings at the end of this episode. So obviously she's got her work cut out for her. Obviously Riker's not forthcoming. They still need Jack Crusher, but they've got the remains of Picard. So how this plays out is going to be very interesting in next week's episode, particularly seeing as how the episode is entitled Dominion. I wonder how much of the Dominion we're going to see. Are we going to see, more Dominion ships like the ones we saw during the Dominion War on DS9? Are we going to see Jem'Hadar? Are we going to see Vorta? Now, I haven't seen any episodes ahead of you guys. I'm watching it as they go to air as well. The next bit we're going to talk about is a bit of speculation about what we might see in the next week's episode based on what Will Wheaton has talked about in the Ready Room. So if I happen to be on the mark and say something that is in fact accurate, please don't shout at me for spoilers because I don't know anything. I'm just speculating. But Will Wheaton in last week's Ready Room said,
I will be joined by a guest who appears in next week's episode. But check this out. Telling you their name would be a massive spoiler. That's how exciting and awesome this is.
So it's pretty clear that we're going to be getting a legacy character returning in the next episode. Now, based on this silhouette that he pops up on screen, which seems like it's an actual frame from his interview, that they've actually masked out the guest star that's sitting on the couch talking to him, I would pretty much say that this silhouette, it looks like a male silhouette. It doesn't look like a female silhouette. Based on the fact that we're going to be getting, the episode is entitled Dominion, it's a pretty safe bet that it's going to be somebody maybe from DS9, who is a character on that was involved somehow, that we saw during the Dominion War or as part of the Dominion. And not only does it look like a male silhouette, but it also looks like a male that doesn't necessarily have any hair. There doesn't appear to be a hairline in this silhouette. It seems to be a fairly follically challenged individual. So based on this silhouette and based on other promotional photos, I'm going to say this silhouette is a pretty close match to Jeffrey Combs.
I mean, look at the way he's holding his hand in this previous interview shot. It's almost identical.
Wayun was such a huge part of the Dominion and the Dominion War and everything, and we know that the Wayun clone was replicated many, many times, got killed and then replicated again. And I know I did talk about this in a previous video when we talked about the episode titles, and I did speculate as to whether we might see one of the Wayuns return in this season of Picard. And a lot of you said, oh, no, that can't be right because at the end of DS9, they said that was the last Wayun clone that was killed. We haven't got any more. But let's face it, guys, this is science fiction. There is no reason why the writers couldn't say, well, we actually, we thought that was the last Wayun clone, but there was a backup facility somewhere which had a few extra test tubes or whatever with extra Wayun DNA in them or whatever. There's no reason why they couldn't do that. So just because they said in one of the final episodes of DS9 that the Wayun clone that was killed was the very last one, I think they could get around that in a multitude of ways. And let's face it, how great would it be to see Wayun back in Star Trek again? Always such an awesome character. Jeffrey Combs, such a legend, playing multiple parts and everything throughout the history of Star Trek. I would put my money on this character as being one of our returning ones for next week's episode. But let me know what you guys think. You might think it might be somebody else sitting on the couch talking to Will Wheaton in the next episode of The Ready Room. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've got any theories about the face, the changeling face that Vadic talks to. What do you think? Is this character going to turn out to be somebody we have known or seen before from Star Trek that was heavily involved in the Dominion War or so forth? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, guys. As always, please subscribe if you haven't already done so. I always aim to stay pretty up to date and current with all the latest Star Trek news on YouTube, so be sure to click on subscribe to keep current with everything I've got going on. Check out my merch in the merch store, where you can pick yourself up t-shirts and hoodies and mugs and caps such as this one, which I've got cool Star Trek designs. It helps support the channel and get yourself a bargain as well. And I'll be back very soon with my next video. I'll catch you guys soon.